Now we're going to be talking about a very serious matter in a minute to Jenny Beresford and Michael Garland about retail, about matters that have been brought up on the news and by people all over the place in terms of how people are getting on. Let us know, text us in please, and keep your texts coming in regarding the Peter Marks competition. Some wonderful texts, some wonderful people nominating others, and well done Brian for giving us that €100 voucher to be spent when things start off. People texting in, nominating people such as my niece Emma Casey, who's a nurse in UHW, others saying Anne-Marie Norris, others that's from Ger, others saying ringing in from Kilmacow, my name is Marion Foley, others, some lovely, so many people working in frontline in different areas. Emma Mullen, Annette Fennelly working in UHW. So everybody that texts in will go into the draw. We'll put everybody into the draw. I have a nice text in. Damien, I cut my son's hair out the back yesterday. It turned out okay. But the funny thing was, when we finished, we saw the crows and the blackbirds flying off with their beaks full of his hair. I assume they're using it for their nests. Michael Garland, you've no such problems.
No. Don't start the interview like that. I was just listening to your previous one about hair and things, and I did my hair especially this morning in case I was on a video Zoom thing or a call. For
people that don't know, Michael Garland is chair of the Waterford Business Group and is also follically challenged like myself. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Jenny Beresford.
Good morning, lads, and I'm not follically challenged.
No, my first question, the very important question, is how is your hair?
Well, it's tied back at the moment, and probably will be for a number of weeks. So I'll get around it like that. Yeah.
It's so many, like for so many people, it's one of those things. Women in particular, over the age of 70, they're just this social idea of going out and getting the hair done once a week and a blow dry, and a lot of them are finding it really difficult from that aspect as well. So we're not making fun of this. This is a serious matter. Jenny Beresford, thank you very much for joining us. Waterford Chamber, West Waterford Chamber, Dungarvan Chamber, Dungarvan Business. We're going to talk briefly, folks, about a network, Chamber Ireland and the network of chambers around the country, surveys of people. The reason we're doing this is because it's newsworthy, it's important, and it's the facts. So it's not in any way being negative or being falsely positive. It's giving it as it is. Jenny Beresford, can you give us, please, some of the main findings from this survey? We'll talk about what can be done about it and everybody coming together, but let's look at the reality as it is now. What are the findings, please?
Sure. This is representative of Waterford specifically. In addition, we'll say that it's quality representative nationwide as well. So, for example, 47% of businesses have laid off staff. 20% of businesses have laid off their entire staff. 99% of respondents believe that there'll be a need for a stimulus package when we get going. 84% of businesses expect a revenue decline in excess of 25% in the next 3 months. Smaller firms are concerned, and some firms expect 100% reduction in revenue over the next 3 months. 42% of businesses in Waterford have closed entirely, and 30% have closed to the public. So of those who have closed would expect to be closed for 12 weeks. So they're very stark findings. I'm sure you'll agree. And like I said, that's Waterford specific, Damien. So, I'm sure we've all got friends, neighbours, family and colleagues who are affected by these situations. And so there's an awful lot of fear and confusion out there as well, because, we don't know when things are going to start up or what the future is going to look like from here either. So that's why it was important, we'll say, that to communicate that there are so many networks and there are so many and that are there to support as well.
And we will. We'll talk about those supports now in a minute. Michael Garland, as we heard, 166 respondents from Waterford, 83% were chamber members. 50% of those responding are participating in the wage subsidy scheme. And in terms of closure of business, 43%, and I understand it may have gone up slightly even since that, we're talking approximately half of the businesses in Waterford have closed.
Yeah, and it's probably actually more than that now as well, and it is very worrying. And I know, and with Jenny, and we'll talk about this later, the wee task force we're looking at. The bottom line is Waterford started in a very difficult place before COVID-19 appeared, and we were starting on a very low base anyway, and we would all be extremely worried that the longer this goes on, the longer businesses will struggle to reopen. 2 weeks was kind of easy enough that could have been handled. We're now 5 weeks, will be 5 weeks of complete closures. It gets very difficult then. Businesses still have costs to go to. Businesses are going to banks and looking for loans. They're having difficulties accessing those loans as well. So we're in an evolving position where everything changes daily. For instance, I know now of yesterday, the Vintners Federation, I think there's a deal being done for those guys to park the rates completely during the COVID crisis. So things are changing on a daily basis. And what I've said to people is I hope that the government employ as good people as they're relying on for the health message as they do for the business message to re-kickstart the economies, and particularly the economy of the Southeast, because we were dragging behind before this. So it is a worrying time, but there are good things coming out of this, and I know you're going to talk about those as well.
We will, yeah. And again, what we do on this programme is to state the reality, to state the fact. And the fact is that those surveys showed, because it's only when we know the severity of the problem that we can go to government and go to others and say, this is what we need. Waterford has been hit worse than other areas, or maybe it's the same, looking at the survey results from other parts of the country as well. But the figures are startling. They are startling. And these were 166 respondents from across all sectors in Waterford, 83% of which were chamber members. Jenny Beresford, what can be done, firstly, in the short term? What are you doing to try and help businesses to survive at the minute?
Mm-hmm. I suppose communication is the big thing, Damien, and I know that people are suffering overwhelmed from communication, so we're quite mindful, and I include, would say, Local Enterprise Office, Business Group in Waterford and the City Chamber as well in this. We're quite mindful of the information that we are distributing and disseminating to make sure that it's completely relevant and that it's up to date. There are an awful lot of supports available at the moment, and that's really what we want to communicate as well. This is a very scary time, and it's okay to feel fear, and it's okay to be afraid, and it's okay not to know what the future will hold. But it's good to talk about it, and it's good to try and work with each other to try and navigate this as best we can. We've got a couple of emails, we'll say particularly ourselves, got a couple of emails a week we send, one with just general supports and information, and then another one specifically down training available and free supports and services that are available. So they're two really good emails that people are getting every week. We also, as does everybody else, has a really good social media platforms that we populate very regularly. And it could be good news stories about what businesses are opening and what's evolving and how businesses are changing to accommodate the current market. But it's also, we'll say, it could be the stark reality of the survey that we just did, or it could be about new supports that are coming on stream, as the days unfold. Also, we are aware of people's mental health and mindfulness, and so we have access to meditation. There's a new one that we do weekly. Emer Enright locally does that. So those meditations are available online. Also, cognitive behavioural therapy. Niamh Connolly has started to record some sessions today, which will be online from next week. And there's a lot of mentoring, and counselling available for free to businesses. It's just that they have to know where to look or where to access it.
Well, you've given some very, very good advice there. Michael Garland, in that survey, the future was also questioned in terms of people asking their views about what's going to happen next. Should the state provide cash flow liquidity grants to businesses? 95% yes. Nearly 100% say the state should extend the timelines for COVID-19 business supports. Will Ireland need a post-COVID national economic stimulus package? 99%. I don't know why the 1% didn't join in with that as well, to be honest. This is so serious, both at a micro level, that is on the ground, and at a macro level. And then there's the money that will be available or not available to the government. So now, from what I'm getting from you, Michael, is that you're putting in place a procedure to work it out with the council, Michael Quinn and the council and others, to make sure that the best case is put forward in the future. Talk to me about that.
And to talk about Jenny, it's all about working together, and the Chambers, the Business Group and the Council and the Leo, and getting the message out there. There can be at this time, an information overload. So, for instance, one of the things we're collectively doing is putting a very simple document together through the Chamber and ourselves, where people can access all this information. Now, we're particularly talking about business here at the moment because it's business that needs to re-kickstart first. But we're also saying, for instance, things like the business continuity voucher, which businesses can access for up to kind of around about €2,500. But people need to go and ask that. They need to get into the Leo and ask the question, do they qualify for that? Can my accountant get it? Can this person get it? Can my marketing person get it? So, and I know the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks are still as a shock to people in terms of business and tearing their hair out in terms of what they're going to do. But what we're trying to do is get a message out there to say to people, you're not on your own. And this document that's going to be produced and circulated shortly will have all our contact numbers. I'm happy for people in business to phone me, as is Jenny, as is Ger, as is the Leo. People are not standing alone in this. We are in this together. We will come out of this together. And that is why Waterford needs to be ahead of the game. Yes, there will be a national recovery plan, but we need one for Waterford that is unashamedly going to put Waterford and Waterford City and County and all those businesses back on the map. And people have a role to play in that as well. And we're exploring ways to ask the members of the public how they want to see their cities and towns go after this COVID eventually disappears and the restrictions are lifted. It's not a case of it's business, council and public. It's everyone collectively. And I think that's the message we're trying to get together. And we've only had 3 Zoom meetings on remotely conferencing calls, but we've done a huge amount of work in the background that businesses will see first, and then members of the public will see as well. But rest assured, this is a collective. We need to do this together. And one of our biggest concerns is naturally those people that are shopping online. And I know Glenn Sheridan started a Waterford Online Facebook page. But people need to be conscious that they can still access some Waterford businesses online. And those that aren't, will they come off online shopping and go into the cities and towns and villages and actually knock on doors and go into shops? So everyone has a role to play in getting Waterford out of this. And we're in it together, and we need to work together collectively and do that now immediately so we get the best bang for buck as and when there's a national recovery and there's money available for us.
Jenny and Michael, thank you very much for joining us. Well done on your initiative. Go on, Jenny.
Can I just conclude very briefly on something, please? Right now, we all have to go against nature, and that's a fact, and we can't underestimate the impact. And so some people are still in the fight or flight mode. But the communication and collaboration, which Michael alluded to, will be ways in which we will all get through this. But how people can play a role in this, and it's very important, is that they can shop local. And, people might be getting used to click and collect and going online, but even after this, if they are doing click and collect or if they are shopping online, that it be local retailers, local shops, local services that they're using.
Yeah,
Shop local will be a huge way that
it will. And we're getting we actually have Glenn Sheridan coming on the line next. He's going to talk exactly about that. So you're 100% right. Listen, mind yourselves, and we'll talk to you again soon over the next fortnight, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Jenny and Michael Garland there, Waterford Retail. On those shocking figures, the Chamber figures, and just to reiterate, regarding the National Chambers of Ireland, they got over 1,100 responses. And regarding closures, 42% of businesses closed entirely. Another 30% have closed the public offices. Public-facing offices are now working from home. So that's 72%, and Michael says it's probably gone up slightly. So 75, 3/4 of businesses in Ireland have closed. 3/4. That's the depth of the economic problems we are facing here. But not just here, in every other country. And of those that are closed, most expect to be closed for 12 weeks. So again, this is just stating the fact of responding to a survey from Chambers in Chambers Ireland and also the Waterford connections with that. A lot of positive things coming out, and Jenny said and Michael said the positivity is there. Regarding cocooning, I got a text in regarding the Irish Times article quoting the HSE, saying there's no provision in the Act to sanction those the HSE believes ought to be cocooning or not. Nonetheless, many people believed it was illegal to go out if you're over 70, with charities who work with elderly people saying it had created confusion. The Department of Health have responded that the position on cocooning is advisory and not mandatory, and is there to protect vulnerable people. Exactly what Dr. Jeff Plant said earlier. The spokesperson added, however, that those over the age of 70 are also subject to the laws about non-essential travel, as everybody else is during the COVID pandemic. Now, in a minute, I'm going to be talking to Glenn Sheridan about what do people buy online and what is the issue regarding buying things online. In other words, do you actually check if something is being sourced locally or certainly even in Ireland? You may, in the small print, it might say it's something's been made in China, even though it looks like it's been made in Ireland. I'm going to talk to Glenn about that. So text in, please. What do you buy online? 083 333 975. Thank you so much, everybody, for texting in regarding Peter Marks, and thanks to Brian for the voucher with that. So many people have texted in about their daughters, their sons, them working themselves. We've had to pick one winner, and the winner is Claire Crowley, who is an ICU nurse. And Anne rang in, her daughter-in-law, Claire Crowley, an ICU nurse. She's 3 young children. She works in the hospital on nights, and she came out of the draw. Everybody else, thank you so much, and thanks for there was over 100 entries there on that. A lot of people talking and questioning about the Keelings thing, very, very animated about the Keelings bringing in the pickers. Barry rang to say, regarding this, legally they probably haven't done anything wrong, but it does seem to have been done in some kind of a clandestine way, and it doesn't seem to be the spirit of what we're doing here in Ireland. Others saying that should be Irish people, could be working there on that. What about all those things that need to be done as well? Another person saying about hairdressers, I use home dye to cover my grey hair. There's nothing wrong with the colour. Unfortunately, I cannot afford salon prices every 5 to 6 weeks. I also have clippers and cut my partner's hair too, so he saves on the barbers. Another person saying they're never going to buy Keelings again, whereas others saying they understand where Keelings are coming from and they do believe that they will be involved in social distancing for the 2 weeks. Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning, Damien.
How's your hair?
Getting thinner by the day. That's a sign of age, I suppose.
It's not a problem then for you or me. No, I just get the clippers out and I'll do the dog first and then do myself. No, do myself first and then the dog. Yeah. That might be the way to do it, yeah. Listen, this is a very important matter because we've just been talking to Jenny Beresford and Michael Garland. You were General Manager, you were involved formerly of Tommy Hilfiger in the city. You're now General Manager of Meadows and Byrne, is that right?
That's right, just beside Carrick-on-Shore there, yeah, that's right.
And there's a new Facebook page you've set up for Waterford businesses which are trading online. Tell us about it, please.
Yeah, well, I've always been the shopping local drum, I suppose, and with things at the moment, the way things stood, I just thought I was following a lot of businesses online and local businesses and through Facebook and social media. And so they're all coming up with their own ideas of how they're kind of continue to trade. And I suppose they come up with the idea that shopping online can still mean shopping local. And there are lots of businesses out there, local businesses, who have websites. And if they don't have websites, they're being very creative. They're showing the products online, say, through Facebook, and then they're asking their customers to contact them maybe through Messenger, and then they're arranging payment as such. So there's so many businesses that actually are still operating, obviously in a much reduced capacity, but I'm so surprised. So I thought it was good to just create a page where they could share that, and I was really blown away. I mean, 1,600 followers in just over 24 hours. I've been inundated with the amount of businesses contacting me to share. I'll give you an example. One of the skin and beauty local businesses, they're doing online consultations with their customers. Things you wouldn't think about, and they're being really creative. So I'm just there just trying to support and get the word out that these businesses are still trading. Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of businesses, people are texting in saying that it's very hard to go shopping in Waterford at the minute because a lot of shops closed, obviously. Regarding online shopping, a texter to 083 333 975. I shop online with stores that are not in Waterford, like H&M, Zara, New Look, etc. Would always like to shop local and support, but sometimes the choice is not there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's an argument even when the stores are open. I suppose the main objective for the Waterford Online page was those businesses that you normally go to. Can you still get to them? The local, and most of these are small, independent, family-owned businesses who we all know and we all shop with regularly. And we might just think, actually, they're closed, and I normally get that from them. I tell you, go onto their Facebook page and even just message them, and you'd be very surprised that they have alternative arrangements made. and they're all relying on our support, and more than ever. We'll always have the argument about the bigger multinationals. That argument is probably not for now. This is about the business that you normally go to, and that you're not going online, and you're automatically thinking, well, I can't go to Tommy down the road because he's closed. I'm going to go to a big multinational instead. No, check it with Tommy first of all and see, is there a different? Can you support them?
What are people buying online? Bank of Ireland, the analysis of debit card transactions shows overall spending is down. Retail has shifted online with significant increases in gaming, clothing, electronics, home appliances, home fitness products and streaming services. What do you think's happening, Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, I just an extended list of that too. Cosmetics, beauty products, garden products, DIY, books, sports equipment, self-assembly furniture, and toys. So I suppose people are spending so much time at home. That's where the attention has been drawn to. After their essential shopping, after their groceries and medical supplies, whatever they need, they're then looking to go, I suppose DIY and painting and I suppose going back to the cosmetics, it mightn't be a vanity, it might be just a necessity. Someone might have a skin condition, they need to have products for that as such. I'd like to see books actually. Books probably wouldn't have been one that you would have expected. Yeah. Books seem to be, and I know obviously like the book centre and that have a very good website as well. So hopefully they're all being sourced regularly. So what's one statistic I saw from yesterday from one delivery company: 585,000 parcels delivered last week from one delivery company alone in Ireland, and that surpassed Cyber Week and Black Friday last year.
Wow!
They've employed an extra 100 drivers. And there's a 60% increase from where the normally would be. 585,000 parcels from one company.
Wow.
So that's just a great statistic. So I suppose the main message is there is an economy out there. People are still shopping. They're still spending their money. And let's just try and see can they keep some of the spending.
Yeah, I know there's a builder supply firm in West Waterford that are supplying. Again, it's click and collect. Well, not click and collect, click and deliver. And people are ordering online, and that there's stuff being delivered to people's houses. So a lot of people are doing a lot of work at home. I did a kind of an unofficial survey on my own Facebook page. And apart from clothes and shoes, as you say, books, vegetable seeds, hair clippers, kettles, bike tubes and bike cleaning products. So if you're not being able to get out on your bike, you're cleaning your bike and doing it all up.
Yeah. I mean, a local DIY store yesterday, I mean, they've been creative. What you do is you email your order into them with your contact details and your name. They'll contact you back and charge it, and then you go and collect it. I mean, look, and what this might also do is maybe for those businesses that don't quite have a full online store at the moment, going forward, maybe they'll need to develop that a little bit further. I know Michael mentioned this through the LEO. There are trading vouchers there, and there are help out there to try and get it over the line. But look, long term, we want to have the stores open again, bricks and mortar. We want the experience, we want the atmosphere, the touch and feel. But we have to have businesses to go back to get that. And so for the time being, just support the local businesses online.
Very much so, yeah. Listen, we'll keep in touch and see how the Facebook page develops, and it's very, very tough for a lot of people out there, and our thoughts go out to them. Also a special shout out, Glenn, to lorry drivers. We had a call in from somebody working for Storall, and a shout out for all delivery and truck drivers who were working through the pandemic. And
I'd extend that. Look, apart from our fantastic health workers, the frontline retail workers that are out at the moment as well, stocking the shelves and working in the environment, tough environment as well. And just before I go, Damien, I just want to send out my condolences to the Searson family on the passing of Jimmy. Shay is actually my brother-in-law, so I think it would be remiss of me not just to say that our thoughts are with Kathleen and Elaine, Barry, Pat and Shay today.
Yes, thank you very much, Glenn. Glenn, mind yourself and your family. And just finally, your favourite Father Ted moment, anything that springs to mind?
I think the one with the father, the Bishop Brennan with the bunny rabbits.
Oh, the bunny rabbits.
that one makes me laugh every time, yeah.
Glenn Sheridan, mind yourself, take care and stay safe.
Damien. Thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you very much. So, on the bunny rabbits, we've got some of the kicking Bishop Brennan up the arse. There's the Good Luck Father Ted episode, the Plague episode, the Flight into Terror, Speed 3. Oh, that was a good one. Somebody has texted in about that. The Love Rat Milkman Pat Mustard taking terrible revenge on poor stand-in milkman Dougal. And do you remember the bit when Dougal wakes up in the middle of the night and shouts, "Those women were in the nip"? And then we've got the Passion of Saint Tibullus. They did the Careful Now and Down with this sort of thing. That became, I suppose, de rigueur for protesters. thank you everybody for texting in for the Peter Mark competition. We've had so many people texting in about their sons and daughters and themselves, from Mary working in palliative care, from Margaret, so many other people texting in. I'm not going to give everybody a chance to give a mention. Somebody wants to nominate Claire Talbot, who works in the hospital. So we'll come back to those. Now, before we forget it, I want to mention Mountfield Estate. Mountfield Estate is an estate in Tramore. The front row of the houses have broadband, but other rows don't have fibre broadband in their houses. So it's our understanding on the research that we did that the ducting is in place. So it's not an issue with the developers. But Open Air, that's the networks division of Air, which is totally separate from Air Retail, basically didn't connect the ones at the back. So we got onto the council. The council has no role in this. The council's broadband officer, Jack Doyle, he contacted Open Air to say it has been sanctioned. This was in November. Now, residents have access to wireless broadband through a separate company, but the broadband, as we know, for many people, can be considered an essential service these days, and that's what people are talking about. So we had a lot of residents on to us about this. We followed it up. We managed to get in touch with Air yesterday. My understanding is they've said to us that 340,000 customers were linked up with broadband over the last recent deal that was done with the government. But there's a new company has now come in, and they now have the contract for the next phase. So basically, anybody that has not linked up now, there's a new national broadband programme, and that's another company that's doing that. So the old Air contract is gone in terms of connecting up. So it may be possible that there will not be a connection for the rest of the Mountfield Estate people for a considerable amount of time. We're going to try and follow up that again and see what the story is in that. Keep your texts and comments coming in, please. 083 3333 975. I'm going to be talking to Laura Finnegan in a minute, a lecturer from WIT in the Department of Sport and Exercise. Very interesting research. A football research group in WIT. So anybody who's any interest in sport, you will really want to hear this. A lot of people animated about the Keelings matter. People saying that why is the government allowing plane loads of people into a country that's in lockdown? Just the pictures being sent out are not good, says another person. Others saying they want to pass on their sympathy to the Searson family. That's from Michael. Another in from Norman. 2 hardware shops in Dungarvan are delivering. It's a great service, says this texter. Damien, if we had the shops here, people might actually go to the shops in Waterford. Great to hear our local TD, Matt Shanahan, doing great community work, says this other texter. And a lot of people have texted in, as I say, regarding the Peter Marks competition and frontline workers. Thank you very much for that. Laura, good morning.
Hello, Damien. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Keeping well.
Good. You were at the Department of Sport and Exercise in WIT. I know it's one of the strongest departments and it has done, like all the other departments, but does great work in WIT. You set up what's called a football research group. Can you tell us about this, please?
Yeah, so the group consists of a mixture of Department of Sport and Exercise lecturers with a wide range of expertise in the areas of talent development and organisational structure in football and indeed across a number of sports. Also with expertise in the area of player migration, psychology, transitions and coaching. And also, I think uniquely, we've brought in national and international experts in football research. Through my own PhD in talent development in Irish football, I suppose I identified maybe that lack of a cohesive approach and really the value of people with different skill sets coming together and looking to, I suppose, approach issues in football in a bit of a different way, looking at it from a couple of different angles. So we're very excited to get this up off the ground. As I said, there's a range of expertise and a range of people that are involved. We only spoke about it really in the media over the last few weeks, but already we've had a lot of communications internationally as well. We've had, for example, this morning I was having an email conversation with the Hibs sporting director in Scotland, and they're interested in getting involved in the research groups. There's loads of avenues and potential areas to explore.
Excellent. So it's basically an analysis of underage development programmes, and there's been a lot of, some controversy about this because a lot of the development programmes would have been done through the clubs, and then in the last few years we've had the procedures that the FAI have come in, particularly for under 13s, under 15s, under 70s, What do you think is best for programme development for youngsters? Because young lads can be, I suppose, and girls can be told by people that can be plumb off and say, oh, you're really, really good, I can see a future for you, and they'll take them away from the club, bring them into the FAI. That can be a good thing. You have a level of excellence. Are you finding anything at present that the minimum age this should be done, or what do you think?
Well, I think it's really important, definitely, that we do have that evidence-based approach and use that evidence then to create these coherent structures within youth development in football. And I think that's probably what was missing up to now. There were some pockets of very good practice going ahead. So now with the use of research and data and having a look at what works elsewhere as well and seeing how that might work here in Ireland, we can start to have a look at what might work best in terms of talent development. So there's a lot of issues in there. There's been a lot of controversy about the age of the National League of Ireland starting. You alluded to the under-13 league there. That's probably been the most controversial due to the bringing in kind of 11 and 12-year-olds. So there definitely are issues there. And there are issues the whole way along. But I think people are willing to have a look at what's happening and explore a little bit of the confounding factors a little bit more.
Yeah.
So those are the factors that might have almost a hidden effect on player development. Maybe something even as simple as when in the year they were born.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think your mention earlier of fact-based analysis, and that's what it's all about, because anecdotal evidence and people saying this or believing that is one thing, but let's get the facts, and this is why this study is very important. So it's going to be a 5-year longitudinal study, and that's really good, because only on that basis will, I suppose, better ideas and better formulas be able to be brought forward.
Absolutely. I mean, sport, and in this case football, is a key part of our culture. And what comes with that general enhanced level of interest is that everyone holds opinions on how to approach concepts like how to best develop a youth footballer. And sometimes the things that might seem that they make the most sense, for example, get them in as early as we can and make them just play football, might not actually have the best long-term impact on development. So there's definitely issues to explore in terms of early specialisation. So, for example, it might sound counterintuitive, but actually the best thing that we can do for our developing youth footballers, both male and female, is to keep exposing them to different sports and playing football even in different capacities, whether that's school and club, and then maybe an advanced level as well. So there's definitely things that we can learn.
Laura, take care, mind yourself, you and your family and everybody there, OK?
Thank you, Damien. Take care. Thank
you very much. Laura Finnegan, a lecturer in WIT, and you can find out more of her information through the website, through Facebook and also through WIT. So if anybody in interest in that, please follow it up. Text in. Another football legend, says Michael, Norman Hunter, passed away this morning. Sympathy to the family. Good morning, Damien. This is in from Joe. Hope all is well. Your interview with Matt Shanahan was very enlightening. Thank you very much for the continued support and coverage for Azzurri. And well done to everybody there on the show and the programme. Now, as a little tribute to the frontline workers, I came across a poem by Michael Rosen, and TV Honan sent this in to me as well. It was written for the 60th anniversary of the NHS. Appropriate for our times, I thought, and TV thought this as well. And here's the little poem from Michael Rosen, and this is for all frontline workers out there. These are the hands that touch us first. Feel your feet, find the pulse and make your bed. These are the hands that tap your back, test the skin, hold your arm, wheel the bin, change the bulb, fix the drip, pour the jug, replace your hip. These are the hands that fill the bath, mop the floor, flick the switch, soothe the sore, burn the swabs, give us a jab, throw out sharps, design the lab. And these are the hands that stop the leaks, empty the pan, wipe the pipes, carry the can, clamp the veins, make the cast, log the douse, and touch us last. Now, keep your texts and comments coming in. It's the last little segment before the end of the show on Friday. Hope everybody is going to have a great weekend. 25 years ago, this week Father Ted started. John Kenny, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, Damien?
I'm wonderful, thanks. I'm wonderful. How are they all in Limerick?
We're okay. We're good. The sun is shining. We can't complain.
Good.
Great.
Listen, how are you managing with the lockdown? What are you doing to keep yourself busy or getting through it all? Are you doing a bit of writing, a bit of reading, or how are you managing?
I'm doing a bit of reading at night time and digging holes during the day. Doing a bit of gardening. Out in the garden. There's about a year's work to be done out here, and
have you a big garden
and
yet?
I gave up this month. Well, it's my own fault. I keep adding on to it. You know, I say I'm going to do this, and this is the last thing I'm going to do. You know, and then before I know it, I'm building a stone wall or making a bridge. Or see, I love kind of. I love trying things that I don't do normally, I suppose, and that can lead to problems because when you're not, you know, you kind of go, well, you have to try work things out then, and yeah, it kind of works out, but you learn by your mistakes. You know, there's a lot of mistakes, but yeah, that's nice, and the weather's been great. So, but I just said to someone anyway, I think where I'm situated down here, we're kind of used to being isolated because we're in the middle of the country, and really we don't see anyone from one end of the day to the next. You know.
Yeah,
so in some ways we're kind of used to it. We're kind of acclimatized to not meeting people or being around people, you know.
Are you missing going? Are you missing going on stage? You were here in Waterford last year. We did a piece with you. As people know, you are very famous for so many different programmes, The Unbelievables and other things.
Yeah, we did. We did Chrome and Below, and we had a great. Yes. We had a great house for it. It was really, and we were supposed. I think we were supposed to go back to the Theatre Royal with it in the autumn. This year, September was the plan, but that might change now, you know, with Croman again. So, yeah, and I had the work lined up with myself and Mary still doing some work. We're bringing back the TD again because that's supposed to be going to the Gaiety in Dublin in October, but we don't know about that now. We don't know about anything because it was like in 1 week I had all the work lined up was to take me into the summer, into June, and then I was going to take some time off over the summer, but it is all gone now, so that's it. Everything was cancelled, and you know,
have to play it by ear. Yeah.
Yeah, but sure, I think we did the right thing, and we had to do it. We have to do it, and it's too important, isn't it? It's just too serious, way too serious.
It is, yeah.
So hopefully, if everyone minds themselves and just, you know, stay safe, as they say.
Yeah, and all your relatives and family and everybody that you know are thankfully safe at present. Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Good.
Thanks to God, they are. You know. So that's good. Look, it's not easy.
Not easy. 25 years ago this week, first Father Ted episode started going out. You were involved in the Song for Europe episode.
Yeah.
What do you remember? You were the host of the Eurovision, as they say, the Irish leg of it. What do you remember about it? Can you believe it's 25 years first?
Well, no, really. It's look at, I know, but that's your sign I'm getting fucking old when I turn around and go, that's 25 years ago, you know. And everything else, yeah. Well, it was a great gig because easiest gig I ever had to do anyway when it comes to filming, because it's something I don't do an awful lot of, because I find it's my stage. I find stage easier to some extent because my dyslexia and that, you know.
Yes.
And I've always had a bit of a problem with it. But anyway, I didn't have any scripts to learn for that version of Father Ted, really, you know, because it was all basically mumbo jumbo, you know. I just went in, I started talking, I said, no one knew what I said. I said, that's it, that's brilliant. Do that.
And that was it. That was the...
Yeah, it was kind of happened a bit like that. Like, they just wanted some kind of... what the brief was on the character, like it. But yeah, and it's amazing, geez, when you see it again, like, it's like all the Father Ted stuff. It just holds its own. It's timeless. It's in a kind of a... It's in a zone of its own, you know. It's timeless. It'll be timeless. It'll still be as fresh and as funny in 100 years' time, I think. It was all right. Everything was right, from the writing, the casting, the main characters, everything about it. The whole style of it was just, you know, it's timeless. It'll never age, you know. So
yeah,
and it was lovely to be part of it. And I did the cinemas one as well. I was Mihal, the cinema owner in the Passion of St. Cleopas or something.
Yes.
And so I got a couple of shots of it, which was lovely to be part of it, because at the time, I suppose, we didn't realise 25 years later it's still being shown, and you know, it's still there, still out there.
Let's see. I might have a little piece, John. There, just stay on the line. I'll see if we can play a little piece here on this. See what we have here now.
Maybe he needs to have a little bit of an accident then.
Good luck tonight, Fred. Oh, yeah, sure. We'll see you later on. We'll be flying in.
I got, oh, yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Thanks. Right.
Maybe he really does sound better on TV. Hooray!
Now, live from the Theatre Royal, A Song for Ireland. And here is your host, Fred Rickwood. Hello!
Fred.
Song for Ireland. Contest where we select who will represent Ireland in Eurosong 96.
Fred Rickwood, yeah. And the fact that you were able to literally transform your character from being a blubbering mess to just going on stage, it's
That's show business for you, David. That's show business. That's usually the kind of a dishevelled, unable to put two words together, but when you put them in front of a camera, they love us. So, yeah.
And I know a lot of people in the entertainment business and even journalists, they'd be sort of, we talk about that over the years, because one minute you'd be a wreck, you'd look stupid and look really bad, and suddenly you have to go on camera, or you have to do a television piece or a live TV piece, and you suddenly change altogether. It's
adrenaline kicks in, and the alter ego kicks in, and everything else that goes with it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
was it?
Yeah, it was great fun. It was good.
That's what I was just going to ask you next. Was it good fun working with the lads?
Yeah. It was, and it was exciting at the time, because Declan Downey was directing it, and Declan had, so, you know, there was a really good crew on it. Like, everyone knew what they were at. Eugene O'Connor was main cameraman on it, you know, especially all the stuff filmed on out in Ireland and that, you know, and the studio stuff then was done in London. But it was great. It was great fun. There was a great sense of excitement about it, because here we were, and it was, you know, two Irish writers, all Irish cast, about a very Irish subject, priests, and it's going out on the international stage. Like there was that sense of excitement about it, you know.
And it's still
really good.
It is, and people still watch it. My friend here, my producer Julie, she was watching the episode last night. And is there any other episodes stand out for you? Any other little scenes that stand out for you, John?
Oh, look, I mean, there's so many. I think in every episode there was always gems, you know.
Yes.
I mean, the famous line, like, kick Bishop Brennan at the arse, like, you know. I mean, we'll never forget that. Like, you know, there was just so many of them. There was all little. They were all so good. Like, I mean,
they were.
So many of them, and I have seen so many of them, and you'd watch them again, you know.
Yeah. So, somebody texted in there, Mary. Somebody texted in, Mary Riley was a lovely girl, and she had a lovely bottom.
Yeah. So silly and so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so surreal, I suppose, really, and just a piece of magic and a piece of brilliance, really. I suppose that's it. It hit all the right notes, I think, you know. So
it did. We're going to play My Lovely Horse in a minute. Listen, John, it's lovely talking to you. Stay safe and mind yourself, and God bless.
Yeah, and to everyone down there as well, everyone around Waterford that I know and don't know. It's the same to everyone, you know.
Super.
Take care. Stay in by the wall. Whatever.
God bless John. Song of Hole, okay?
Okay, all right, good talk to you.
And yourself. Thanks very much there. John Kenny there. Here's a little bit of My Lovely Horse. Janie, lads, have a listen to this. My Lovely Horse.